Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me for my second video, my second YouTube video. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining me for another video. My name is Brooke and welcome to B Night Finance. So the last couple of days I've been watching these videos and these videos are on professional athletes who they have their first $1 million, and they are actually what they do with their first $1 million. Now, it's pretty amazing. Actually, I saw several people. There were these players, and they went out and they bought. I think it was like an $80,000 car for their mom. They went out and bought. I think it was, jewelry, bracelets, watches, necklaces or whatever, tens of thousands of dollars, Rolexes, another car. One guy bought a Bentley, I believe it was like 380. And so it was pretty amazing what they do with and this guy he critiques what they're doing with their money. Okay, and it was interesting to see how their spending habits. Now, I readily admit, if I were 21, and I know a lot now because I worked in finance, I know a lot, and I'm 50 years old, so I know a lot. If I went back to, I don't know, 1990, when I was like 19 years old, and you had given me millions, it would have been a problem. Definitely. I would have, of course, I would have bought my mom a home. I definitely would have bought my mother a house for sure. I would have, I don't know about jewelry and all that, but I definitely would have had some problems with some spending for sure. So that's the thing is, though, interesting though, is there was this one player and he actually it was $1 million, and he took 800,000 of it and bought real estate and put it all in there, and then allowed the the residual money to actually work for him, right? So he bought his principal, and he allowed what was coming off the principal to actually be what he spent now. So his principal was always never touched. Okay, which is interesting and awesome and great that he did that. The other ones were just, it was amazing, now. And so what am I saying that for? Well, there's a saying out there that says, you know what? It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. That is true, very true, that it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. Okay, now explain. Well, it's about, you have doctors who make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not all doctors, okay, but you have a lot of doctors, and a lot of times doctors are notorious for not doing well with their money. It's just for some strange reason. I don't know why. Now, if you're a doctor and you're saying, well, that's not true, that might, but there's data on this that they're not always the best. Okay, but so if you can make $600,000-$700,000 a year and not do well fiscally and not know where your money goes, but then you could also make $75,000 a year and be somebody who has money in the bank and knows where all their money goes and has money. Because it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep, how you spend your money. Now, I quickly here, this is the Economist magazine right here, okay? I guess, case in point to how you're spending your money or how you're not. This magazine right here, I just recently canceled this subscription because I was not keeping track of my money. And so they have been charging me, and it's not their fault, for something that I wasn't reading. So I went ahead and canceled that. Also, there is Sirius Radio, and I was not watching, I was not listening to that anymore, but I didn't change. I didn't go and stop the subscription. So they were going ahead and they were charging me for that as well. And I went ahead and canceled that. The thing is, if we are to deal with our finances, the number one thing that we've got to do is our spending. It's our spending. It's our habits, our spending habits, okay? For instance, my wife comes home a couple months ago and she's like, hey, honey, let's get a new, how about she was walking through some place and she's like, and the guy stops her and talks about a deal to get a new phone. Okay, now at that moment we had Apple, we had the X, right? The X phone. Okay, so that's all. It's cool, and so I was cool with that. I was cool with that, and I used it. Probably, I used 30% of the phone to its capacity. Just to be honest with you, that's what I do. Okay, I'm not Mr. like guru technology and knowing all these big things. I don't know. So, but she comes and she says, hey, why don't we get a new phone? And I'm like, well, all right, cool. I mean, all right, cool. And, but can I ask, what's the difference between the X and the 12? Oh, they said it's a new phone. I mean, a new, a better, what is it? Oh, camera. I'm like, oh, but I never used the old camera. So how am I going to notice the difference between the old camera and the new camera if I never even used the old camera? I don't need a new camera. Apple has convinced the public that every 3 years, you need a new phone. That's amazing. They've duped us. And every 3 months, you need a new phone. You need to come and get your new phone. No, you don't need a new phone. You don't need a new phone. You don't, unless you need a new phone. But if you don't need a new phone, then don't get one, right? And then, and there's all these, deals, and you need to get a deal and all that stuff. But ultimately, you end up spending money that you really didn't need to spend. Amazon is Jeff Bezos, former CEO of Amazon, is a genius because he has made spending our money so extremely convenient that it's not even funny. It's amazing. If whatever I want, essentially I can go on Amazon and I can press the button and I can get it in my house in 2 days. I just bought a nice new shirt from a group that, and I just press the button and it comes. And he has made spending money convenient. The thing is, most Americans spend too much money and they don't keep enough. And it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And most Americans aren't keeping enough. They're spending too much. They're spending too much on subscriptions. They're spending too much on trying to impress other people, which I don't even understand that mindset. I'm serious. I've been trying to impress people, trying to do all that. That's ridiculous, right? Serious. But you know what? If the neighbor's got a new car, then I gotta I don't get a new car. The neighbor needs to know that I'm cool and I don't need to live up to his or hers or new whatever they got. But unfortunately, that's a big part. Eating out, stuff like that, just being disciplined with our money. And the reason why most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Did you hear what I just said? Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. No, that stops with this channel. We are going to be people who no longer live paycheck to paycheck. I'm fortunate enough to not live paycheck to paycheck now, in the sense that I can pay all my bills without the next paycheck coming in, just because I've really worked hard to discipline myself and get myself together. My wife and I do well, and we've got real estate and we've got a lot of things, and I'm a finance guru and all that. But most people don't have a budget or whatever, don't have all that laid out in terms of where their money goes. You should know where every dime of your money goes. Every dime. You should know where it goes. To the penny. I know that's like, wow, that's a little crazy, bro. No, it's true. And that's why most people don't do well fiscally. That's why most people live paycheck to paycheck. That's why most people don't even have $1,000 saved up for an emergency. The emergency is coming, and we're going to get to that whole emergency fund thing. We're going to get to that real soon in several videos from now, but we'll get to it. We'll get there. But the first things first is spending. We got to get our spending. Now, The challenge is if you don't have a budget, get yourself a budget. If you don't have a budget, get yourself a budget. Go through and, any financial advisor who is worth their weight in salt will tell you that from the first time you ever meet them, what they're going to tell you, they're going to say, you know what you need to do is you need to track every expense that you have for 2 months and do not change it. Track every dime, and look at what you spend your money on. Look, what are you spending on? What are your wants and what are your needs? What are you doing with those? Okay, are you spending more? Do you spend too much money? Hey, these are your needs. Okay, these are your needs. You need clothing, you need shelter, you need food, you need heat, you need those things. What you don't need cable. You don't need Netflix. You don't need more new clothes on top of the new clothes that you already have. You don't need those, right? You don't need a new phone right now. You don't need all those things. You don't need Netflix. You don't need Hulu. You don't need all of these things that have been extremely convenient to us to do. So we got to really make some decisions, okay, in terms of our spending. Spending, making sure that we have an ironclad budget that we look at and we laid out. Because most people don't even invest any money because they don't have any money left over because they're too busy spending their money on frivolous stuff. Okay? We have to change that. We have to become those who are actually spending our money on knowing where our money goes, so that therefore, once we know where our money goes, then we can say, okay, now I'm going to allocate my money here, and I'm going to do this or that, and money's going to go in, okay? Now, to be able to invest, to be able to, emergency fund, all these things, you can't even get to those things if you don't know where your money goes. You just can't. You just can't. So that's the big thing for us, is for us to really understand and start budgeting our money, spending. This I will spend on for my next several videos will be on spending. This is just an initial video on spending. We must know where our money goes. We must know where our money's going, what we're doing with it, how it's being allocated, what it's going to being used for, right? That we're not wasting it, that we don't have subscriptions like I had that we're not. Do you have any subscriptions that you're not using? Really, think about it. How about the gym? Are you going to the gym, or are you just, that was just something you signed up for, but you don't go anymore, right? You don't go anymore. That's happened to me a long time ago. Obviously, you just heard about my subscription with The Economist and with Sirius Radio, right? Where they were just, just coming out, right? I changed those. So cancel any subscriptions that you have that you're not using, right? Really iron out a budget. See where your money goes. See how you're spending your money. What are your spending habits? Are you making these guys like Jeff Bezos more rich because you're just, using his service to just buy more stuff? No, that has to change. We have to be different. Now, so I just want to thank you guys for this time. Thank you for my second video as we talk about spending, and as we talk about that. Definitely want to make sure that we are getting this on straight. I will be sending out videos every Sunday will be my time. The interesting thing about it is I currently have COVID. Because my whole family has it, actually. 5 of us, we have it. So I've been holed up in this basement, for the last, 8 days, and a couple more days before I can get out. So thank God that we're all good and well, but that's what it is. So thank you so much for your time. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel, because there's much more content to come out on this. I'll only get better with every video and to get it better. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Take care.